Hold on. You do my vocal warm-ups. Word.
That's probably staying in. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Hardcore and the Casual Podcast. I'm your host, Justin, and on today's episode, we have a slightly different person. We've got Jake here on this episode. Usually you'll see him on the WWE Pro Wrestling Podcast. Today, we needed a replacement for Elijah, so we got Jake. Well, you were supposed to be on the episode anyways, but Elijah couldn't make it today, so we've got Jake here. He's still going to be giving his predictions. I'll probably add that in halfway through the show. You'll get like a little clip of Elijah's picks. But for right now, we are going to be doing a 303 prediction video. And before that, we're going to review a little bit of Whitaker versus Akreem, which went on last Saturday. It was a really good fight that only lasted about like 2 minutes.
Word.
All right, had to turn up my mic a little bit. It sounded a little low. So, yeah, we've got a prediction video for 303 coming up to you. But first, I just want to touch on a few things that happened on last week's UFC. So, Volkan Oezdemir knocked Johnny Walker out cold in the first round. Johnny Walker has been knocked out. Every time he's been knocked out in the UFC, it's been like one of those things where it's just like he just crumples over and he looks like a mannequin, like a statue just laying there. He's a very entertaining fighter to watch get knocked out. But
like a bag of chips.
Exactly. But Volkan Oezdemir, 20-7 now. He's kind of been up and down in the division, but having a win over Johnny Walker is a pretty good win, even though Johnny Walker has now like been knocked out by all of the top 7 guys. But yeah, so Johnny Walker starting to decline again, but I'm sure he'll catch a few wins here and there and stay right in the middle of the pack, kind of like a Volkan Oezdemir. Shira Bullet had a good knockout in the third round. He also had a good fence grab. Not much to really report. He looks really good. His guy took the fight on like a week's notice or something like that. Not really much to go on that. We've got Kelvin Gastelum versus Daniel Rodriguez. I had Kelvin Gastelum, which ended up making me retain this against Elijah. Sadly, he can't be here to show his reaction to that. But we got Jake here. You want to imitate what he probably felt in that moment when I won and he lost? Okay. Great. Thanks for the entertainment. Yeah, Kelvin Gastelum won a somewhat good fight. It was pretty entertaining. There wasn't really much to go off of, though. Daniel Rodriguez is kind of like one of those middle of the pack guys too. And Kelvin Gastelum needs to start trying to make weight better. Sergey Pavlovich versus Alexander Volkov went nothing like I thought it was going to go. I thought Sergey Pavlovich was just going to walk forward and knock out Volkov, but Volkov picked him apart off of around 3 rounds, and Sergey Pavlovich did nothing. Like, dude, you're the heavy-handed one. Push the pressure. Go in. Try and knock him out. He just sat there and let him jab him from the outside the entire fight.
I got a question. Was Kevin Gastelum overweight?
Yeah, he was overweight.
I didn't know that. He probably has too much gas.
Yeah. Gas him. Yeah, no, he had way too much gas in him, and he
How many pounds worth?
I don't exactly remember the amount of pounds, but I know that it was supposed to be a welterweight fight, and that it ended up at a middleweight fight.
Oh my god.
So,
that guy
yeah.
just needs to rip some cheeks. Let it go.
Yeah, really. Yeah, so back to Sergey Pavlovich, Alexander Volkov. Volkov's lost to, like, the top 4 guys, so there's not really a place for him to go right now. Volkov, not really a place for him to go. Sergey Pavlovich, you should have just walked forward and tried to knock this guy out, Derek Lewis style. You sat on the outside for way too long and let him kickbox you. I don't know what you were doing. But, oh well. Main event, Robert Whitaker versus Akreem Alaskarov. That was an awesome knockout by Robert Whitaker. He caught him with that. He was doing his blitzing thing, went in, 1-2, caught him with a head kick that kind of landed, kind of didn't land, and then finished him off with an uppercut. It was an amazing finish. Robert Whitaker is back into finishing form. He hadn't had a win by knockout since like 2017. So,
damn, that's a long time ago.
Yeah, but he's had a bunch of wins. I mean, all of his fights were wins except for to Izzy and DDP, but they were just all decisions. Now he's finally got a knockout back under him. Clean win, early win, minute and 49 seconds. Akreem took it on short notice, about a week's notice, so props to him for getting in there. But yeah, you probably need to fight a few lower ranked guys. Other than that, nothing really to say about this card. I think I really want to see Chimaev versus Whitaker now. I wish Chimaev would have been in this. This would have been a much better card if Chimaev was in it. But other than that, there's not much else to talk about. Robert Whitaker puts himself in a good spot to be the backup fighter for Izzy and DDP. That's about it. Maybe they give him a fight against someone highly ranked. Nasruddin Imavov is fighting probably in Paris, so I don't think that really makes sense. Other than that, Sean Strickland said he doesn't want to fight. I really don't think there's much for Robert Whitaker to do right now. So I think that brings us into our 303 predictions now. We are going to do the entire card. If you want to skip forward, you can skip forward to the main card, but we're going to do the entire card. So to start off, we're going to be writing down on our boards, by the way, just so that we're not copying each other or anything. So to start off, we've got someone who you're very invested in because we've got our little side draft, UFC draft on the board. Rai Tesura, I think that's how you pronounce his name. You have him drafted as a part of our little UFC draft that we do every 6 months.
That's my dog.
So 9-0, and then we've got him versus Carlos Hernandez. So write your pick down of who you think is going to win. I'm pretty sure we both are going to have the same exact guy. So it doesn't really matter. And then, obviously, you'll see who Elijah ends up picking at the end. Well, I'll add in a little clip of his picks at the very end, so you'll get to see that too. 3, 2, 1.
Rai!
Yep, we both have the same guy. Can you pass me one of those erasers? All right.
First down.
So now, next up, we've got Andrei Arlovski versus Martin Buday. Andrei Arlovski, 37-23 with 2-0 contests.
Holy crap!
He's the most active guy on the he's been around the longest.
I wouldn't want to fight him.
I think 2002 is when he debuted.
He's got
the
too
year
much
I was
experience.
born. He debuted the year I was born, but he's also got 23 losses. Martin Buday, 13-2. I don't know much about him.
Holy shit.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to go with this guy.
Wait, what were their names again so I know what to write down?
Andrei Arlovski or Martin Buday. Andrei Arlovski, you could just put AA. Hit him with the AA, the attitude adjustment. Sorry, no. Keeping WWE out of this right now. Just because you're the WWE guy doesn't mean we can start talking about WWE on a UFC thing. Don't want people clicking off too early.
Facts.
So, 3, 2, 1. I got Martin Buday.
I took the young guy.
All right, we both got Martin Buday on that. I'm thinking Elijah's probably going to pick Andrei Arlovski. But hopefully Martin Buday ends up winning that. So next up, we've got Michelle Waterson-Gomez versus Jillian Robertson.
I like her name. I don't even have to ask any questions.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna go for her. 3, 2, 1. Robertson. I went for Jillian Robertson too.
I like Robertson.
So yeah,
I like the name.
She's like a submission expert. Michelle Waterson-Gomez has been at the top, like the top 5 before, but she's kind of been on a slide. 18-12, not the best record, but 13-8 is also not the best record. So we both got Jillian Robertson. I'm thinking that Elijah's probably gonna pick Michelle Waterson-Gomez.
No way.
I'm probably just gonna try and guess what he's gonna pick on everything, and then we'll see at the end how close I am. Next up, we're moving up to the prelims. Peyton Talbot versus Giannis Gumari. Giannis Gumari. Gumari is 12-2. Peyton Talbot is 8-0. He's one of the guys that is a huge prospect in the UFC that they're thinking is going to be like the next world champ. There's a little bit of information on him. I know nothing about Giannis. So, all right, I got...
Wait, what was
Peyton Talbot versus Giannis. Giannis Gumari. Gumari. All right. You got someone written down?
Yeah.
All right, 3, 2, 1. I got Peyton Talbot.
Yeah, me too.
All right, good.
You sold me on him.
I think Elijah's also probably going to pick Peyton Talbot. Okay, this is one that's very important to our UFC draft that you guys can't see off camera. Thomas, who has been on the channel before for our UFC 300 reactions, he has Gene Silva on his team, and currently Thomas is winning. So if Gene Silva wins, he locks that down. And he wins for a 5th time in a row. We've only done it 5 times, and he's about to win for the 5th time in a row. It's a 6-month draft, and he's won the last 2.5 years. So it's kind of getting ridiculous at this point. But yeah, we got Charles Jourdain versus Gene Silva. I don't know, man. Jourdain is 15-7-1. Gene Silva is 12-2. But somehow Charles Jourdain is the favorite in this fight. But I think I know who I'm picking. All right, you got to pick. 3, 2, 1. I got Silva.
Charles Jourdain.
He's got Charles Jourdain. I don't know who. I think Elijah's probably gonna pick Charles Jourdain. I don't actually know who he's gonna pick for this one though. But yeah, I got Silva. He's got Jourdain. Next up, we've got Cub Swanson versus Andre Touchy Feely. That's literally his nickname, is Touchy. He's Andre Touchy Feely.
Can I get a record check on these two guys?
Cub Swanson is 29-13. He's like a legend. He's been around since like before the UFC took in the weight class that he's in. And then Andre Feely is 23-11 with 1 no contest. Andre Feely got knocked out in his last fight. I think Cub Swanson is coming off of a win. This might be Cub Swanson's swan song. I think this might be his retirement.
Maybe.
I really don't know. I feel like Cub could get on the inside and kind of knock Andre Feely out the same way that, what's his name? Crap, now I don't even remember the name. The last guy to knock out Andre Feely, Dan Ige. Dan Ige was the guy that knocked out Cub Swanson. 50K Dan Ige. But, or not Cub Swanson, that knocked out Andre Feely. So, I'm thinking I've got it. You have someone written?
Yeah.
Cub Swanson or Andre Feely?
Yep.
All right, 3, 2, 1.
I've
got Cub Swanson. All right. So, yeah, Swanee. Okay.
Dude, we're only 1 fight off right now.
Yeah, we are. You and I
It's fucking
are only
nuts.
1 fight different.
That's crazy.
I guess we'll have to see what Elijah's picks end up being. Next up, we've got B. Joe Pyfer versus Marc-Andre Barriou. I think Barriou just lost to Chris Curtis in Canada at 297. UFC 297. Joe Pyfer's also coming off of a loss to Jack Hermanson. But I gotta go with my boy. He's my boy. All right, you got someone written?
Yeah.
Let's just say you've got to be Joe Pyfer.
Joseph Pyfer.
All right, we've both got Joe Pyfer. You got to be Joe Pyfer. You got to he really does have like that knockout power, like that one punch you're going to bed power. But Jack Hermanson's just got a chin on him. All right. Now we move up to the main card where there were 4 fight cancellations. So first off, Conor McGregor versus Michael Chandler was canceled. So that was supposed to be the main event tonight. It's not happening, sadly. That would have been really good for the analytics of this video, putting Conor McGregor in the title. Oh well, it's not happening. So then, Jamal Hill versus Khalil Roundtree was the co-main event. That got switched to Jamal Hill versus Carlos Oldberg. That got switched to Anthony Smith versus Carlos Oldberg. And then that got switched to Anthony Smith versus Roman Dolidze. So that's a weird thing, but we'll get to that prediction. First up on the card, we've got the future Ian Machado Gary versus Michael Venom Page.
If McGregor or Chandler would have happened, who would you have had?
I would have had Chandler.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I would have had Chandler. Just to throw that out there, we both would have had Chandler. I think Elijah would have picked Conor McGregor, though. But yeah, we've got Ian Gary versus MVP, Michael Venom Page. Ian Gary is 14-0. Michael Venom Page is 22-2. Michael Venom Page coming off of a win over Kevin Holland, and Ian Gary is on a win streak. He's got wins over Neil Magny, Jeff Neal, Daniel Rodriguez, and a couple other guys that are lower ranked. But yeah, I don't know, man. I think I've got to go. No matter, I don't want to say anything yet. I don't want you to steal my pick, but you got someone written?
Yeah.
All right, 3, 2, 1. I've got Ian Machado Gary.
I do as well.
So I know everyone hates Ian Gary, but when he steps inside the octagon, it is kind of magic what he does. MVP is a really good striker, don't get me wrong. It's just that Ian Machado Gary is like on a different level right now with his striking. And I see him putting him to sleep somewhere in like the second round probably. Michael Page is going to do all of his weird stuff, and Ian Gary is just going to catch him. The same way Douglas Lima did in Bellator in their first fight. But yeah, Michael Page, 37, Ian Gary's like 27. I don't know. I just think Michael Page is just like getting a little old to be at that top tier of the division. So yeah, we both got Ian Gary. I'm pretty sure I know who Elijah's going to pick too. It's probably going to be Ian Gary. So next up, we've got Maria Bueno Silva versus Macy Chiasson. Maria, they both got the same record. It's just that they both are 10-3. It's just that Bueno Silva has one draw and one no contest. But other than that, same record. Moreno Bueno Silva just fought for the title in her last fight and lost. I don't know anything about Macy Chiasson. So, you know what? 3, 2, 1. I got Macy.
I got Silva.
I don't know anything about Macy, but I'm picking her.
I was going to do that.
He's got Silva. I think Elijah's probably going to pick Silva. Next up, we're coming to the co-main. Anthony Smith versus Roman Dolidze. Roman Dolidze moving up from middleweight to light heavyweight for this fight. Anthony Smith filling in for all the guys that I listed earlier. Anthony Smith, 38-19. Roman Dolidze, 12-3. So, and he's a middleweight moving up to light heavyweight. Anthony Smith is a middleweight who moved up to light heavyweight 10 years ago. I think I know who I've got. All right, you got your pick?
Mm-hmm.
3, 2, 1. I got Anthony Smith.
Not Anthony Smith.
So do you have Anthony Smith or not?
No.
So you have Roman Dolidze.
Yeah.
All right.
You took Anthony Smith?
Yeah, I took Anthony Smith. Yes, I did.
I considered it, but I couldn't do it.
All right, so I've got Anthony Smith. You've got Roman.
Yes.
You acknowledge your tribal chief, no matter whether it's no matter what. Roman is always your tribal chief. Am I correct?
Always.
Always.
We only have three differences right now.
Yeah, we do. That's usually how it comes down to. I wonder how many differences we're gonna have with Elijah. Honestly,
hopefully not a lot.
So
or like
maybe a couple.
Yeah.
Honestly, I hope we just have one different.
I just want that chain.
Yeah. Well,
there's
come
a possibility.
For it. Bitch.
It's up to these three.
All right.
Just get dropped.
Brian Ortega versus Diego Lopez is the co-main event. I don't know if it's really co-main event worthy. I said that I was going to stop doubting Diego Lopez and that I was going to like treat him how he is, but he's fighting Brian Ortega, so I think I know who I've got. You can go for Diego Lopez if you'd like, but I'm just letting you know right now, I've got Brian Ortega.
I got Brian Ortega.
Okay, so we both have Brian Ortega. I said I was going to stop doubting Diego Lopez. If he beats Brian Ortega, I will then stop doubting Diego Lopez. But it's just such a jump in competition. Brian Ortega won against Yair Rodriguez, well injured. So, I don't know, like 16-3 to 24-6. Their jiu-jitsu's going to cancel out. And if you haven't watched Brian Ortega fight, he's a very good boxer. I mean, knocked out Frankie Edgar. Go back and watch Max Holloway versus Brian Ortega, the third round. Brian Ortega puts the pause on Max Holloway in the third round before getting finished at the end of the fourth. He's a good boxer. He's got the skills. Diego Lopez has a couple of knockouts in his recent fight, but that's not against someone as high level as Brian Ortega. Brian Ortega said he wants to move up to lightweight after this.
They're bantamweight, right?
They're featherweight, 145.
I was going to say featherweight.
Yeah, they're 145. Brian Ortega wants to move up to lightweight, 155. I think that's a good move for him. There's not really much left to do at 145. I mean, you already lost to Max and Volk, who are both above you in the rankings, so there's really no point. And Ilya Topuria called for the fight with Brian Ortega, so I would think Brian would try and push back and be like, yeah, I'll take the fight, but it looks like he doesn't want to fight Ilya.
Volkanovski would fuck Brian Ortega up.
He already did.
I know.
They fought before.
But he'll do it again.
He would do it again. I don't doubt that for a second.
Did he drop him in the first round?
I don't remember. I don't think he dropped him at all, but he just put the work on him, made him bloody, took him down. Yeah. Just put the work on him. So then we come to the main event of the evening. We have Alex Pereira versus Yuri Prochazka. Alex Pereira 10-2, Yuri Prochazka 34-1, and this is their second time fighting. The first fight kind of ended a little odd. Some people say it was an early stoppage. Some people say it was a good stoppage. If Elijah was here, he would argue that it was a perfectly fine stoppage. I thought it was a little bit early. Prochazka seemed to have been like pulling guard more than like just falling and passing out. He was like kind of like pulling Alex on top of him. So I think, and Yuri had the advantage on the ground, so I think he probably could have changed position, gotten on top, or came back. I've seen worse. But yeah, so this is the rematch. I think I know who I have, though. All right, you got your pick?
Honestly, shit.
Oh, he's changing his pick.
I don't know, dude.
You told me
the
who
thing
you
is,
were
I
gonna pick.
like watching Alex Pereira fight. I don't know. I just like him. He's just like, I know he's a villain. He's just a cool villain.
No, he's like the hero now, Alex Pereira. He's saved 2 cards at this point now, 303 and 300. So he's kind of the hero of MMA now. But I hate Alex Pereira. Honestly, I just don't like him at all. But he is an amazing kickboxer, and you got your pick?
Yeah.
All right. 3, 2, 1. I've got Alex.
Yuri Prochazka.
You got Yuri Prochazka.
Yuri.
All right. I'm pretty sure that Elijah's also going to pick Alex Pereira. But I really want Yuri to win, and I watched his last fight against Alexander Romanov, or not Alexander Romanov, Alexander Ratchik, and he's got the style to knock out Alex Pereira if he can land that big right hand that he landed on Alexander. He can knock out Alex Pereira, but I think that the right strategy would be take him down and try and submit him. Alex Pereira has been working on his ground game a lot with Glover Teixeira, so I don't know if that's necessarily how it's going to play out. But, yeah, I've got Alex Pereira just because he's Alex Pereira. And, I'd be happy either way now at this point, because if Alex Pereira wins, then I win the prediction for that. Or if Yuri wins, then he knocks out Alex Pereira, and I'd be completely fine with that. I don't know. Alex Pereira just seems like an untested champion at this point. I really like Yuri Prochazka. I just see him getting knocked out again. I see him getting caught doing his wild woo ha wah stuff and just getting caught. But how do you think Yuri's going to win? You think he's just going to knock him out?
I think he's going to have both feet on the ground. He's going to have a good position. They're going to be squaring up. He's going to jab him right down the middle. He's going to jab him again. He's going to pump fake, hook, knee to the face, drop him.
You've heard it here first, folks. If that actually happens, I feel like we should just give you the win automatically.
Jab, fake jab, hook, knee.
I could see it happening. Honestly, I feel like he's got to do some wacky stuff like
jab,
that.
Another one, pump fake, hit him with hook, head comes down, bang, drop him.
I'm completely fine with that, and I actually hope it happens. Because I am not an Alex Pereira fan. I am 100% against Alex Pereira. I want him to get knocked out in all of his fights. I just don't think it's going to happen. I don't know, man. There's not much else to say about this card. I'll probably splice in Elijah's picks probably right now. You guys can watch that for a second. Here you go.
How are you doing, UFC fans? It is Elijah here, and I'm here with my side of the predictions. I'm sorry I could not make it. These are my predictions for UFC 303. We're going to start off with the early prelims. We have Ricky Simon versus Vinicius Oliveira. I'm going to go with Vinicius Oliveira. He's one of my favorite fighters. Next, we have Ray Soraya versus Carlos Hernandez. I'm going to go with Carlos Hernandez. Next up, we have Andre Arlovsky versus Martin Buday. I'm going to go with Arlovsky for that fight. That's going to be a very exciting fight. Next, we have Michelle Waterson Gomez versus Jillian Robertson. For that fight, I will be going with Jillian Robertson. And for our prelims fight, we have Peyton Talbot versus Giannis Glamori. I'm going to go with Peyton Talbot. That seems to be the smarter choice. Charles Jourdain versus Jane Silva. I'm probably going to go with Jane Silva. Very, very good with the Silvas. We have Cub Swanson versus Andre Fili. I'm going to go with Cub Swanson. Next up, we have Joe Pfeiffer versus Marc-Andre Bryant. I'm going to go with Joe Pfeiffer. And now we have our main card. And for our main card, our first fight is going to be Ian Gary versus Michael Venom Page. It's going to be an amazing fight. I'm going to have to go with Ian Gary. I believe he's going to get it done. Michael Venom Page is on the older side, but nonetheless, it's going to be a great fight. Mariah Mireille Buena Silva versus Macy Chasson. I'm going to go with Macy Chasson. I want to give, someone else a chance to shine and win the belt in the women's division. Next up, Anthony Smith versus Roman Delibes. I'm going to go with Anthony Smith on this one. Coming off a win. I don't know who he's really fighting this time, but I believe he'll get it done. Next up, an even more exciting fight, Brian Ortega versus Diego Lopez. That is going to be a great fight, a very technical fight. Diego Lopez's last fights have been under 90 seconds. Amazing. I've watched kind of his glow up. Very good fan of Brian Ortega. I'm going to go with Brian Ortega because I know Justin's going with Diego Lopez. So Brian Ortega is our guy. And for the Alex Pereira and Yuri fight, our main card, our championship fight, I did see that in the last fight, Yuri was able to find shots and show Pereira that he can hurt him and that this is a bigger division. Pereira did put Yuri to sleep. I believe that he won that fight, so I'm going to go with Alex Pereira once again. And those are my predictions.
All right, that's probably a long enough gap. So this is going to be a very fun card. UFC 303 going down International Fight Week. Just to run down real quick, you want to read us all of your picks real quick?
Me?
Yeah, just read them down.
All right, I have Ray Tesura, Martin something, Robertson something, Peyton something, Jardine, Cubby Swanson, Joe Pfeiffer, Ian Gary, something Silva, something Roman, not my tribal chief, no chief, Brian Ortega, like the taco mix, and Yuri Prochazka.
Okay. Oh, wait, we missed a fight.
Oh, no.
Yeah, we did miss a fight. Okay, Ricky Simon versus Oliveira.
Charles Oliveira's on this card?
No, different Oliveira. Vince.
What is this, on the prelims?
Yeah, early prelims.
Early.
First fight of the card. Ricky Simon versus something Oliveira.
What are their records?
20-5 and 20-3.
What? Dude, the most even fight of all time. Who's 20-3?
Oliveira.
All right. Give me Oliveira. Give me Oliveira.
I got Ricky.
Aw, you piece of shit.
I got Ricky.
Another indifference.
Oh,
Jesus.
All right, and now that makes it for me. I've got Ricky. I've got Rhea. I've got Boudet, Robinson, Peyton Talbot, Gene Silva, Cub Swanson, Joe Pfeiffer, Ian Gary, I've got Macy Sasson, Anthony Smith, Brian Ortega, and Alex Pereira. So I think that can pretty much do it. I mean, we're at 30 minutes. I'm probably going to cut a little bit of that and then add Elijah's part in. It's probably going to put us almost at exactly 30 minutes. But since we had to wait so long for Elijah, who never ended up showing up, it is now 1 o'clock in the morning.
I've also got Oliveira.
Okay, yeah. Thanks. You're really doing me a favor here. I'm trying to end this podcast.
No.
Because it's 1 o'clock in the morning, and I need to get this edited and out by the morning. So that's probably what I'm going to spend the next 2 hours of my life doing. I'm going to edit for an hour, I'm going to export it for an hour, and then I'm going to upload it and fall asleep. So you can get out of my apartment now. Thank you guys for watching the Hardcore and the Casual podcast. I have been your host, Justin. This has been Jake. That mask is nasty and has never been washed, and I bought it at a yard sale. Thank you guys for watching the Hardcore and the Casual podcast. Thanks, Elijah, for sending in your video. Peace out.
I wish I would have known that.